Bona tarda, good afternoon from beautiful Barcelona. I am Alexis Roig, CEO of SciTech Diplo Hub, the Barcelona Science and Technology Diplomacy Hub, the non-profit public-private partnership in charge of representing Barcelona's science and technology ecosystem worldwide. Thank you so much for joining us today for this webinar session, Talent Without Borders, Leading Scientific Researchers in Barcelona in the framework of the Barcelona Expat Week. In the last decades, Barcelona has been able to create an inclusive urban identity built upon the three T's: talent, technology, and tolerance. Today, the city is a leading innovation hub in areas such as biomedical sciences, photonics, energy research, and computing sciences. A magnet for scientists, entrepreneurs, and creators attracted by world-class research institutions and infrastructures and an outstanding quality of life. But why is Barcelona not only a great place to live, but also a great city to do research and build innovative companies? What are the resources and opportunities that Barcelona has to offer to expats living in the city to help them in their landing, integration, and developing their full potential, both personally and professionally? What new opportunities can come along with the landing of new international scientific institutions in the city? How can we harness collaboration within Barcelona's science and technology ecosystem? To shed light on some of these questions, today we are delighted to welcome 4 leading researchers and entrepreneurs who decided to move to Barcelona and develop their professional career, and that will share with all of us their experiences, insights, and advice. Today we have with us Vikas Trivedi, Research Group Leader at the European Molecular Biology Laboratory in Barcelona. Good afternoon, Dr. Trivedi.
Good afternoon, Alexis.
We have Laura Nevola, Chief Scientific Officer at IDP Pharma. Good afternoon, Dr. Nevola.
Hi.
We have Alexander Ivancic, Senior Researcher at Catalonia Institute for Energy Research and Consultant in Renewable Energy. Good afternoon, Dr. Ivancic.
Good afternoon. Hello, Alexis. Great pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. And good afternoon, Jasmine Aguado Sierra, Senior Postdoctoral Researcher at the Barcelona Supercomputer Center.
Hello, Alexis. Hello, everyone.
Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today. 2 years ago, EMBL, the European Molecular Biology Laboratory, Europe's flagship laboratory for the life sciences, opened a new site in Barcelona. The research center has a focus on tissue biology, a growing field with a promising future in regenerative medicine and disease modeling. Our guest speaker, Vikas Trivedi, after earning his degrees in India, pursuing a PhD from Caltech in California, and working as a postdoctoral researcher at Cambridge University, came to Barcelona to lead an interdisciplinary team of researchers engineering embryonic organoids at EMBL. So, Vikas, why did you choose Barcelona as a place where to lead a new research group in developmental biology? And what new opportunities can come along with the landing of a new international institution in the city, such as EMBL?
So thank you, Alexis, and thank you, the organizers, for giving us a chance to talk about our work. So European Molecular Biology Institute, EMBL, is actually an international organization. So EMBL in Barcelona was established 2 years ago, actually now 3 years ago in 2017. Before that, EMBL had 5 sites. The headquarters are in Germany. And then you have 1 institute each in France, in Italy, and in England. So the basic mission of EMBL is to do cutting edge research, and Barcelona seemed to be a very natural place to have the newest site of EMBL. So currently we are a young institute. We are a group of, currently we have 5 research groups, but we will grow in future. And the advantage of the characteristic of an international organization like EMBL is, so we operate, we have 27 member states, most of which are in Europe. And we conduct cutting edge research in molecular biology and basic life sciences research. The institute in Barcelona is focused on tissue biology and disease modeling. So currently we have the 5 research groups. We work on many different aspects. My lab in particular works on engineering organoids, embryonic organoids, to study very basic developmental questions. But then we have also labs which are studying disease modeling, like diseases such as malaria or cardiovascular diseases. And so the reason for me to join Barcelona in particular was the excitement of a new research institute that was being established, and particularly in the scientific atmosphere of Barcelona itself. So for those who already know, the EMBL Barcelona is situated within the building PRBB, which is the Biomedical Research Park of Barcelona. So we are situated in a very advantageous position where we have close collaboration with other institutes. Now, the advantage of having an institute like a place like Barcelona to move on what can EMBL offer to Barcelona. So one of the core missions of EMBL is training. So most positions like mine, all group leader positions, they are only for 9 years. And after 9 years, we are supposed to leave the institute. So that way institutes brings in new blood, fresh energy. And at the same time, it has been shown, meaning about 40 to 50% of people who are at EMBL, they get absorbed in the national framework after they leave EMBL. So we believe in training talent that can then be absorbed within the country. So we bring in expertise. At the same time, we also collaborate a lot. So within the 2 years of its establishment, EMBL has already struck collaboration with other institutions like Center for Genomic Regulation, CRG, or Bioengineering Institute of Catalonia. We have also collaborate with organizations like Pascual Margall or even Barcelona Zoo for certain scientific projects. So we believe that having EMBL in Barcelona is a mutually benefiting relationship, where we are also participating in many activities that the city of Barcelona is doing, like the Ciutadella de Coneixement, that the city has put a lot of effort in establishing, and it is promoted by the city hall. So we think that having a new EMBL site, it's a relationship where there is an opportunity to strengthen the knowledge in science, but also beyond science by offering training to people.
Thank you, Vicky. So how's been your experience so far in these 2 years that you have been in MBL Barcelona compared to your previous experiences at the University of Cambridge or Caltech, which are also placed in other hotspots for science and technology?
Yes. So one of the things that in my 2 years, so the first year that I have been here, it has gone a lot in establishing the lab and establishing a new research laboratory. And the second year, unfortunately, has gone in COVID. But I feel that Barcelona as a city is it's quite mysterious in the sense that there are many institutions within Barcelona, some of which are perhaps, meaning coming from a life science background, I do not know. So for example, my lab in particular now has a collaboration with a lab that is in the civil engineering department within University of Barcelona. So you would think that what would a biologist try to do with a civil engineer? But the idea is that because the focus is so much on interdisciplinary science, and Barcelona as a city has a lot to offer. So there are many institutions. Barcelona has an excellent photonics institute. So it's a city that needs to be discovered, and one needs to make a lot of effort to discover it. But the scientific atmosphere is quite vibrant. And what I personally like the most, that people are really enthusiastic about science. So that makes, let's say, transition very easy.
Great, outstanding. I totally agree with this, the importance of this interdisciplinary and the ability that Barcelona has to attract quite a diverse set of professionals with different backgrounds. Thank you so much, Vikas, for sharing your experience. After doing her PhD in pharmaceutical sciences at Rome University and a stay at Yale University in the US, Laura Névola moved to IRB Barcelona, to the Barcelona Biomedical Research Institute in 2009, first as a postdoctoral fellow and later as a research associate. And in 2016, she co-founded IPD Pharma, a startup developing medicines targeting intrinsically disordered proteins, one of the hallmarks of cancer. Laura, from your experience as a science entrepreneur, what are the opportunities for launching a biotech startup in Barcelona's ecosystem? And after this experience you have been developing for the last years, do you have the feeling that there is a solid community of scientific entrepreneurs in the city? And if so, how is this community energized?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think that Barcelona really is a very important, I would say, at least in South Europe, hub for life science. And I say from what also I've been now listening from the other panelists, it's because it has been in the last decade, I think there has been a lot of effort to found this inter and multidisciplinary environment that is really very important to make basic science and application, because it's always very important to think that whatever research is leading to have a business, you need to find a very specific application because you need investment. And so what is the consequences of this is that it has attracted talent, not just from foreign countries, that is important, but also coming back of people from Barcelona, from Spain, Catalonia in general, that has been training outside, that has now the interest to come back and to be part of the scientific community. And from the point of view of the startup and the spin-off, because actually it's the main methods that, where when you can found the company, it is because of this talent attracted that this hub that is formed. For example, I know around the people that I've been working with, for example, when I was at IRB, a lot of them are now in a company as a co-founder or member of the team. Because one of the way it's actually to perform a spin-off. It's like when you are in a research field, you have an idea, the institution made or the university provide a patent, so pay for a patent, and then decided to spin off. And this means that the research center or the university can be co-owner of the company as a common shareholders, or can actually receive royalties in the future from the development and the selling of the company itself. This has changed in the last years, I would say, because of the effort that has been in technology transfers from the different centers in Barcelona. We don't have the same level, let's say, of Northern Europe or United States, because they have a back history, but we are moving forward pretty fast, I would say. The other methods, the other option is the startup. That is actually the most common. That is the one I belong to, IDP Pharma. It's a startup. So we just got an idea. We didn't have a patent from any institution because we were independent researcher at that time. And we decided to try, and we were able to find investment that I think is the main and important point. And they have the talent attracted, and also the consistency that we have in this life science environment make also possible the investment from international venture capital. That is something that still it's ongoing. I mean, I think we can improve on that, because we have to enforce the credibility of companies, not just of science. I think that research and science in general is already pretty strong from the point of view of basic research, but we have to improve a little bit more from the point of view of company to attract money from outside, not just the local money. This is very important. And for what you were asking also for the community, if it's well organized, well, I think, yes, there are many institutions that provide support, training also for a scientist that want to be a business person at some point. So there is Axio that is very important because it provides advices, also training courses. It's very important when you want to start a company. And there are two main institutions, I would say, maybe I forgot someone else, but it's Bio.cat, that is organized the bio region in general in the three part of what is companies in life science. That can be biotechs as IDP Pharma, can be a medical device company, or can be digital health as well. And it's a big community. I mean, in the last report that they were actually Bio.cat provide, we are talking about more than 1,200 companies in between spin-off and startup around Catalonia, and in particular in Barcelona. Then there is Catalunya Bio. It's another organization that provides support, for example, for networking. So meeting of all the company to create interaction that are fundamental for the development of the company and also for the future of the company. Selling, investment. I will probably say a lot of times investment, because it's fundamental for this kind of business. It's very expensive business. And so I would say that yes, and just not to forget, there is the park, scientific park, that is actually where the majority of the company and startup, I would say, in health science are located, also together with some institution. This is also very interesting because you can foster the interaction between basic research and companies, not just for project, a specific project, but also to make possible a continuous working together between the forces that the Barcelona and the city offers.
Yeah, well, definitely this funding issue, or like attracting more capital, is something that it's been around for a few years. It's an usual discussion how to move for being a place that a city that fosters startups and moving to scale ups, which is essential, especially for this sector. And
exactly.
I would also add that beyond Acció from the Catalan government and BioCat or Catalonia Bio, as institutions that support how companies set up in the city, I would also include Barcelona Activa from the city council.
Yeah, it's true.
Are really active in this area and in promoting Barcelona's economy worldwide. Thank you so much, Laura, for sharing your experience.
Thanks to you.
After obtaining her biomedical engineering degree in Mexico and conducting her PhD at Imperial College in London, our guest speaker, Jasmine Aguado Sierra, moved to the University of California, San Diego, where she worked on electromechanic models of the heart. And after that, she moved to Barcelona, where she's currently a senior postdoc at the biomechanics group at the Barcelona Supercomputing Center, where she develops high-performance models of the cardiovascular system. Jasmine, bioengineering is very much an interdisciplinary area involving biologists, mathematicians, statisticians, medics. How do these different disciplines work together at the Barcelona Supercomputing Center, and what does it mean for a city and an ecosystem like Barcelona to have one of the largest supercomputers in Europe?
Well, thank you, and thank you for the question. I think, well, within Barcelona Supercomputing Center is a place where different people doing loads of different research reside. Within itself, it's already a big multidisciplinary place where we all use the same supercomputer to apply, to do different mathematical models and to apply it to different problems. Within the modeling of the cardiovascular system, as you mentioned, it's really important to have the input from clinicians, input from biologists, physiologists, from people from all over the place, right? Because what we want to create are models that actually reproduce reality, reproduce what they are looking at the clinic. So we are very lucky that as a group, we have been able to establish very tight collaborations with different hospitals in Barcelona, particularly the Hospital Sant Pau y de la Santa Creu. We have very, very good collaborators with whom we're actually pushing all of our technologies to become more translational. And it is quite interesting as well that, I mean, it's not only them. We collaborate with Universidad Pompeu Fabra in other terms within the simulations. We collaborate with UPC, some of the biophysics groups. And not only here in Catalonia as such, we have very good collaborations with Madrid, with the CENIC, the National Center of Cardiovascular Research, and Valencia, and loads of different places. And that's one of the most striking things that I found when I moved here to Barcelona. There are so many people working in similar or particularly slightly different areas, and at the Barcelona Supercomputing Center we're trying to put everything together. And within Spain and within Catalonia there's a huge amount of talent and knowledge, and that has been kind of my job now, to put all of these pieces together to try to create something that reproduces a system or an organ or something with the biggest detail possible. So establishing collaborations and establishing all of these goods contacts is one of the most important things that we want to do. And particularly, as I mentioned, as the supercomputing center, what we want to do is put all of the knowledge that is out there into a single model to try to reproduce, try to see how much we know and how much else we need to know.
Amazing, Jasmine. Thank you so much. It's really a great example again of interdisciplinarity and cooperation between different sort of institutions, researchers, and backgrounds. Thank you so much. Our last speaker, Alexander Ivancic, has worked for the Skolkovo Center for Elaboration and Commercialization of New Technologies in Moscow, the International Keio Institute for Architecture and Urbanism in Tokyo, Japan, and a number of international institutions and companies such as the European Commission, the International Energy Agency, Siemens, or Acciona. In Barcelona, he has been Chief Technical Officer of the Barcelona Strategic Urban Systems, Head of the Department in Barcelona Regional, and Technical Director of the Barcelona Energy Agency before moving to his current position as Senior Researcher at the Catalonia Institute for Energy Research. Alex, Barcelona is currently experiencing significant changes related to energy production, use and management, urban planning, and sustainability. In your opinion, how can this transformation attract global talent in science and technology? And what are the opportunities for engineers, architects, physicists, and designers to contribute to this ambitious endeavor that the city is undertaking?
Thanks, Alexis. First of all, great pleasure to be with you today and to share my experience. I mean, I'm here in Barcelona for 29 years, actually. So almost all my professional career has been done here. And I started studying my PhD at UPC. And then from that point, I do some stuff here. Anyhow, I think that Barcelona is really a tremendously attractive place, especially in the field of urban development and urban innovation, architecture, urban design. Actually, as you probably know, when we are talking about urbanism, the term of urbanism comes from Ildefons Cerdà, the let's say designer of Eixample in Barcelona. So Barcelona used to be and still is like a front runner in terms of architecture and urban design. And in this sense, I mean, it's still in very good mood. I mean, a very dynamic place, and lot of stuff is going on. So in this sense, it's a kind of magnet, I would say, for young architects and for talented people interested in all the innovation in smart cities, in new technologies applied to the urban life. However, I would say that comparing with life sciences, my colleagues or my co-speakers just explained, in energy field or urban design field, I mean, we have no basic research in Barcelona, at least it's weaker than in life sciences. So we do not have all the value chain, but still in terms of applied research and implementation, Barcelona is really a kind of front runner. I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of institutions. There are a lot of companies. If I should compare it with maybe some 20 years ago or 19, when I started my first what is now called startup. In that time, we didn't know the term of startup. I would say that we was a kind of one-man band in terms of energy applied research and implementation. Now there is an entire ecosystem, which is really important. I mean, it's important to have an environment when you can exchange ideas, collaborate, work within, let's say, platform economy. When you collaborate, you not necessarily need to grow to make. I mean, to make your ideas and projects bigger, you don't really need to grow in size of your company or in your institutions, because collaboration is becoming more and more intense. From Iraq. I mean, I'm collaborating with Iraq, Catalan Institute for Energy Research for just one year, and it's actually part-time involvement. I'm also working in a company which is devoted to consultancy and applied research. In both places, there we have plenty of Horizon 2020 projects, means European research projects where we are collaborating with, I would say, big universities, research centers from all over Europe, also companies. And Barcelona is a very attractive place, I would say, for other players, because they see here a kind of very fertile ground, and very good place also to make a kind of pilot project, because in this city and urban research, energy research, there is a very important question of having like a field to prove your ideas, to prove the concepts, and to make it in a kind of real lab, urban labs, and this kind of what we call sandbox places, in order to try new things, because technology is evolving so quickly that let's say the urban, the city, and also the rules, the technical norms are always behind. So we need places to experiment and to try things. So it's really amazing place.
We definitely, I would agree with you that Barcelona needs to keep working in this direction, in the direction of positioning itself as a lab, as an open lab, as a sandbox, as you were saying, in order to test technologies. But then we also need the support of regulators and policymakers to give this space, this sandbox regulation, which sometimes, as you were saying, it arrives a little bit late because technology and scientific knowledge goes faster. I would also add that we would need to decide if spending the last 30 years in Barcelona makes you still an expat or not. But
yeah, you're right. I don't know. I feel, both things.
I would say that we are all Barcelonians as far as we feel that we are part of the city, whatever our origin is. Thank you so much, Alex, for sharing your experience. I would like to remind to our audience that there is a chat in the right of your screen where you can introduce your questions there, and because we're going to have, this is an interactive panel, so and you will have the opportunity to get some answers from our panelists. So make use of this opportunity to ask whatever you would like to ask. But before opening the floor for questions from our audience, I would like to ask to our all four panelists, what advice could you give to, on the one hand, scientists thinking of potentially moving to Barcelona, and on the other hand, to scientists who have just landed in the city recently? Vikas, would you like to start?
Okay, so I would say one of the things would be, let's say on the scientific side, I would say, as I was saying in the beginning, that Barcelona has a lot of hidden talent, especially if it is in the university departments. And so one has to really reach out to discover that. And hence it becomes important to have a good network of scientists to that you share a common vision with. But one thing I would say, and maybe the city council, since if city council people are here, that the scientists who are planning to move to Barcelona, they should be prepared for bureaucracy. So to some extent, and this I can say, let's say since, so I moved here. So when I say bureaucracy, what I mean basically is that it takes time to, let's say, get a very simple things, and this is not very scientist specific, but things like getting a phone number, getting a bank account open. You cannot get a bank account open without a permanent telephone number, but you cannot get a permanent telephone number without a NIE. You cannot get a NIE without an address, and you cannot get a full address without a bank account number. So there are certain circular things, but for sure, meaning that you can overcome those. So have patience. But once these things are sorted out, Barcelona as a city has a lot to offer. Meaning, I think the amount of activity, meaning for it is unfortunate, maybe those who moved this year, they might not see the city in its full glory, but per square meter, the amount of activity happening in Barcelona, it's a lot. So it has things for everyone. So embrace the way of living here. That is what my advice would be.
Thank you, Vikas. Lara, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I would say, well, it depends what you want to do. In particular, a scientist that is thinking to move into Barcelona, I would say, look for the gaps that there are in the professionals. I mean, I think, and again, from my sector, there is a plan to improve a lot what is missing, to really make this Barcelona as an hub, not just for a startup, but also for consolidating companies. So I would say, look for what is missing, some kind of professional. It's one example that I can actually make is this toxicology, okay? Because now in a company, the development is completely different from regular research. So the drug development is it's very complicated, it's true, but some issues are very important. And actually, we were discussing before, right before, that the agency for the approval of medicine, one possibility would have been to be in Barcelona. Unfortunately, it wasn't possible. But for example, that case lead this part to be fulfilled completely with this kind of professional, regulatory specialist, toxicology, chief medical officer, all this part that probably it's important. So maybe if you're thinking and you are in this kind of field, you can actually look at Barcelona as a possibility to find a good job at a good position. And for a scientist that is here, I would say, look around you as much as you can. If you have an idea and even if, again, as what happened to me, if you have an idea what you want to found a startup, for example, transform your idea in application, go to the meeting. There are very nice meeting around, like innovation meeting that put again a solution between companies and the research group to find a solution to a specific issue. There is this speed dating that it's not to find couple, but it's to find a couple in the sense of team players for your company. So if you are looking, for example, for a CEO, because you're a scientist, you're interested in science, but you want a mentor to start up with you a company, well, you can find it in this kind of interaction. So look around, go to all these forum meeting and make yourself visible.
Yasmin?
Okay, well, in the area of high performance computing or computing modeling, things are just going to get better. We have one very big supercomputer, Mare Nostrum, here in Barcelona, which is my main tool for work. And with a supercomputer, you have the power of solving really complex problems on whatever field you want to use. So we recently won a bid to host one of the biggest supercomputers in Europe that will be coming very soon. So actually, I mean, for me, when I first arrived to Barcelona, I hadn't really worked with a supercomputer before. I mean, we used big clusters in San Diego, and we were able to solve things, but not at the level that we are, talking right now. And if you're interested on, employing all of your engineering, mathematical, physiology, or all of those different skills within computational models, this is just going to get much, much better. With the amount of power that is available, that will be available, I really recommend people, if you're in this field, to come and visit. As I mentioned before, when I was first employed at the Barcelona Supercomputer Center, I wasn't looking for the place. It was just one job offer, and I was open-minded to come here and see what everything was about. And when you realize the opportunities that there are within collaborations, the opportunities that you have this huge experimental lab at your service, to create the most complex thing you can imagine, it's one of the, the best things about working, at least in that area of research. Now, in terms of the city, Barcelona, I mean, many times with all of our European projects, when you're talking about, okay, where do we do the next meeting, everyone is like, okay, we have to go to Barcelona. Barcelona has great weather most of the year. It has great food. It has great people, great ambience. The overall city is absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. And there's so many things that you can do outside of that. When you first arrive, it's sometimes difficult. It is many times you're moving from country to country. It is cumbersome to go through, now you have to do paperwork again for this kind of thing, and paperwork that you did before already 3 times, in terms of driver's license, you have to have, driver's license in 3 different countries, you have to go through that again. And it is painful, but in the end, well, it is what it is. You go through all these hurdles every time you're doing research at different places, and in the end, I think what I've enjoyed here in Barcelona is that I wasn't looking for anything in particular, but when you're here and when you start discovering things kind of roll and start flowing, and you find yourself in a really good position, in a very good center of, not center of Europe, but it's a vibrant area with a good weather that you can actually enjoy. So I would recommend people to come, test the city, test the research area. I think it's developing more and more in a better way. And this is something like you just gotta go and see for yourself. So not much else to add there.
Well, that was quite a lot and very interesting. Thank you, Jasmine. Alex?
Well, I think that, I mean, in my field, energy transition is on the table. It's one of the urgent questions of our society, I would say, of our civilization even. And in Barcelona, yeah, there are a lot of opportunities to work in this field, and especially now when we're interacting with a lot of different other sectors and professionals, from materials development, from biotech, from computational science. I mean, there is a big trend in making digital twins of buildings or infrastructures, trying to improve their behavior and to predict in a way how can we manage them and profit better. In this sense, well, I think energy field is quite wide, so there are a lot of different opportunities, and I mean, Barcelona really has really a lot of different, I would say, environments when one can try to contribute in this sense. I mean, there was a kind of questions here for me. I would like also to mention that we are now, for example, starting a kind of collaborative hub for energy transition, but from a social and solidarity economy point of view. I mean, trying to also to take into account social effects and social importance of energy transition besides technology, because I can imagine that besides the let's say technology geeks and researchers, there are some social scientists also attending our chat, and there is a lot of room also for this interaction with the civil society, and I mean for whom we are doing this research and this technology. So I would say that in energy field, it's particularly interesting to interact with the social science and humanities, and in this sense also to enrich all the field. By the way, one of the companies I'm collaborating has just now opened some positions, because there are some questions. So, well, check my profile on LinkedIn, and eventually you can see some opportunities.
Well, thank you, Alex. Actually, some of the questions that we are getting now are in this direction. Some people were asking what forms of cooperation and collaboration with some of your institutions or companies were available beyond regular employment as well, because we're talking about a lot about cooperating and using this interdisciplinarity and diversity of backgrounds in Barcelona. And people sometimes wonders what are these forms of collaboration that goes beyond the regular employment contract. So, well, I'm sure that some of our attendees will be delighted to also check those positions open at the organization, Alex. So let's open the floor for questions from our audience. There is Marta asking for Laura. You were, Laura, mentioning earlier that the importance of attending events and speed datings and trying to make the most of those opportunities to connect with other people working on different or similar fields or fields that could be complementary. And Marta asked, where is a good source to check for these sorts of events compared to maybe other websites where maybe are not targeting the proper group of startups or events?
Yeah. Well, specifically for Barcelona, for bioregion, I will say Bio.cat is a good website where actually you can find all this agenda. And I think for this team, actually, because if you sign up for the mailing, and so the information, you got also the information by mailing. And I think that the speed dating, team dating, I think it's open up for right at the end of the month. So you can actually apply with your project, your idea, and you can start and be part of it. I think it's gonna be the event is gonna be at the beginning of November. I'm not sure, but you can actually check out in Bio.cat. I think it's a good source.
Great. Is anyone else would like to add on that? A good source or spaces or times for connecting with other scientists, entrepreneurs, or identifying other talent or opportunities in the city?
Maybe I can just mention that, so at least in the past 2 years, what I have noticed that the scientific institutions in Barcelona, they are also quite active in terms of their public outreach activities. So they have open days organized, and that is a very good opportunity to know about the institute and to chat with actual researchers in a very informal way. So, and this is something I would highly recommend that people should have a lookout.
Directly on the main research center's website.
On the main research
right?
center's website, yes.
Awesome, thank you so much. We also have many people agreeing with many of you about all the challenges about doing paperwork in Barcelona or in Spain or Europe. I would like to add that especially for business-related issues, the government of Barcelona works to have a single point, one-stop shop process, so you don't need to go to different administrations. But at the same time, it is true that when you need to take care of your NIE or your driving license, this involves other government levels, and obviously it's an issue, and it requires a lot of paperwork and visits. Hopefully, COVID-19 will be a good excuse to move all this paperwork online, and will make things easier for international talent arriving to the city. Both Laura and Alex have this dual background in research and then a more applied business sector, and both working in private institutions and public institutions, which probably from your experience you could say that it's not exactly the same, the working culture and how things are done. I'd like you guys to share with our audience what's the differences that you have identified when transitioning from research to business, or the other way around, or from private to public, or given your experience. You want to go first, Alex?
Laura, would you like to start, or may I? Well, for me, it's I can summarize with just one sentence. I mean, how to get finance. I mean, how to get the money. While you're in the public institution, you should, of course, look for financing and look for resources to move your projects, to promote your research. But still, it's completely different than in a private company. In a private company, everything is only on your shoulders. So no background and no like plan B. And this is for me the main difference, because in a way the pressure, the stress, it's different when you're working in a private environment, especially if it's your own startup, starting really from the scratch.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I was starting already talking about investment. We always think about it. I mean, I think also general research always think about investment. It's not investment, but funding to move forward with research. But I agree with Alex, it's more difficult even because the people that are investing in a company are expecting somehow, somewhere, in some time, certain times, they know that the business is pretty large, but they expecting for money back, and this is something that you have to provide, or you have to justify in another way. And in this case, I would say that locally, venture capital in Barcelona, in Catalonia, I will say, are moving forward. It's better now than 5 years ago. For example, there are more specialized venture capital, but still, like I was always, I was already saying this before, we need to attract international money. And normally what I've seen up to now, that is better. And I would say, I'm not actually say that it's a bad position, because I think in the last years, a lot of international venture capital have invested in Barcelona and Spanish company in general. But normally it's a co-investment with the local venture capital, and the local venture capital cannot provide investment for all the startups and the spin-off that are actually funding every year in Barcelona. So we have to try to make possible investment also by international investors as well as just them. But I think that it's worth it to go on and try further.
Thank you so much, Laura. All of you, and especially in the case of Yasmin in the Barcelona Supercomputing Center and Vikas at EMBL, you have mentioned about cooperating with other institutions, the potential of interdisciplinarity and this diversity of institutions and backgrounds we have in Barcelona. Definitely making the most of this serendipity that happens of being in the same place with different people. It's a selling point for Barcelona. But all this has changed with COVID-19 and being all close at home and not having the opportunity to just bump into somebody in an event or in one of those, I don't know, like in any major science or technological event. How do you think that, since it seems like the situation is going to be like this for at least one more year or at least for several months, how do you think that we can overcome this situation and still make the most of this diversity and keep working for more and better cooperation with other institutions and people in the ecosystem?
So I would say, yes, meaning COVID has had effect, but I also feel that meaning as humans, we have adopted very well to the mode of Zoom. So 2 years ago, I attended Barcelona Expat week in person, and now I am attending it via Zoom. So I think, meaning of course, it cannot compensate for in-person meetings, but I feel that the way meetings are organized now on Zoom, I mean, they are quite effective. To some extent, I would say they have actually made things more efficient, because it is much easier to set up a meeting now without worrying to find a place to meet in person. So in terms of, I would say, and also meaning this is a general phenomena all over the world, meaning we see that now. So I see this in a positive light, because now, let's say from purely scientific point of view or purely connection point of view, now many international conferences are online. They are held through Zoom. So now people have access to much more than what they had before. So I think it will take time for us to be used to this and make peace with this fact. But I think we are heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I think I would kind of agree with that. I think we're starting actually to exploit better technology to have a better communication. I perhaps it is difficult in terms of creating new collaborations, because many times it's important to meet in person, right? You have a different feeling when you see someone, you know, in person than when you see it on Zoom or whatever. Um, so for that, I think we will still have to wait a little bit, because I don't think technology is able to, you know, eliminate that. However, throughout this year, I haven't seen much changes at all with communication with my team or communication with anyone. So I think we'll probably survive this era without problems.
Thank you, Jasmine. So in order to add a positive note into that, and not only focusing on the challenges, but also on the opportunities, how do you think that the current situation, that obviously is a global phenomenon, but that it's particularly also affecting us as an ecosystem, what do you think that are the new opportunities that could arise in your fields of work or research, the current pandemic we are all living?
For me, sorry, it completely switched a little bit the direction of my research to have a more applicable, fast solution to a COVID problem. So since the COVID started, I started working on arrhythmogenic drugs and hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin, you know, and you try to respond to the needs of the society at that time, which are of great need. So I think it made us, the whole community, more pragmatic in, okay, we need to find a solution to this fast. So I think it's a good practice it's a good thing we've learned, and I've seen most of my colleagues, most people are doing. We're trying to concentrate on creating a solution to the problem of greatest need. So
Thank you,
And just
Jasmine.
to add to that, meaning I would also say, even for let's say basic research, the positive aspect to some extent has also been that it has given us time to also sit back and reflect a bit more on the questions, and it has brought in, let's say, more technological tools to basic research. So, for example, for 3 months when we could not do anything in the lab, meaning we were forced to use, let's say, extract more information out of the data that we have already collected. And that opens up new avenues for collaboration with data scientists, with collaboration with researchers who are dealing with more high content analysis. So that has also been a positive, let's say, side effect.
I'll
You
just
are on mute.
May
Thank
I?
you. Well, we have 1 more minute because we are running out of time.
No problem. I mean, I wanted to add that for the urban environment, this was a kind of living lab, incredible experiment. We realized how is to live in the city without air pollution or with less air pollution. So the push for the air quality and as Yasmin said, for new research and new implementation of measures for improving air quality is really something very, very positive, I would say.
Thank you so much, Alex. So we're running out of time, so let's wrap up here. Thank you so much, Vikas, Laura, Alex, and Jasmine for this enlightening discussion. As we saw today, we have the opportunity to further increase talent attraction of researchers, engineers, and scientific entrepreneurs from all around the world, looking forward to exciting projects and career paths, and at the same time contributing to improve Barcelona's blooming science and tech ecosystem. All our panelists shared that this horizontal flow of skills and information that transcend discipline silos enhance collaborative opportunities. And in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, it is essential to build a hive mind, a collective intelligence in order to succeed and lead the future. So to sum up, we could say that Barcelona's diverse, inclusive, and collaborative urban identity that allows citizens to interact in a common open space has been crucial for fostering the city's innovation scene and attracting highly skilled global talent. A culture which secures a predisposition towards collaboration, creativity, and diversity of thought serves, as we have been proving in Barcelona, as an incubator for innovation and scientific progress. Thank you very much for tuning in today, and do not miss the rest of this outstanding Barcelona Expat week. Stay safe and see you soon.